Hey everybody, I'm Deborah Westbrook. Thanks for joining me on YouTube and following along on this journey. I'm going to approach spirituality through a quantum lens because that's what I do and that's what I love. And also an intuitive lens as things are flowing up in my heart. So I'm on Facebook right now and I'm doing this live. I just want to wait a minute or so for people to get online, so zip ahead if you want to. I'm going to wait until they get online and share a few things, do a little small talk before we get started. Today we're going to talk on the divine mind. We're going to talk about quantum mysteries that are realities that actually influence your life. They actually play a part in your life and they expand your spirituality and they make you joyful. So let me wait a minute to get started. And for those who are going to catch the replay, thank you. I want to say something just to make a little bit of small talk before we get started. Someone asked me the other day, they said, do you believe nature speaks? And I said, not only do I believe nature speaks, I believe animals have an innate sense within them to speak. So I live in Monterey County, and what people don't know is that California is very diverse. So this county, as well as the Inner Valley, is called the salad bowl of the world. So when I leave my apartment, there are thousands and thousands of acres of spinach and broccoli, kale, spread throughout the cities in fields upon fields. So I don't really ever go to a grocery store to buy fruit or vegetables. Why would I when I can get 4 artichokes for $1 at all the fruit stands here? So when you're driving here, you're seeing the constant growth of vegetables, all kinds. Strawberries, fields of carrots, and artichokes are coming up right now. So we have a year-long growing season. And every time I go, I am enthusiastic about seeing how nature constantly shifts and changes. And they're constantly undoing the field. So yeah, I believe that act of that growing, it's so healthy, it's so beautifully growing. Nature, as well as the ocean, speaks. The trees reveal things to us. They're all part of creation. They have a measure of the consciousness of God to create it. We have a measure of consciousness within us as humans in our incarnation. So today I want to talk about the divine mind, and I want you to relax, and I want you to listen with your heart. If you're going to catch the replay, listen with your heart, okay? Because you don't have to have a linear knowledge of this, a mathematical knowledge of this, because you see, physicists love math. And if you're going to go into the math, it's going to get so detailed. That is why I believe they look for a theory of everything. They want to nail everything down to a mathematical formula so they can figure. And many physicists do not want to even involve the reality of consciousness. AI right now is building consciousness that comes from the brain. That is ridiculous. I believe consciousness can't even be brought down to being reduced to a matter of energy and matter. It is the essence of the all. It is the essence of God that flows through everything, and we will talk about that. So we will focus on the divine mind, and I want to share with you on this journey of the next few weeks. I want to share with you how to approach this topic so that you don't get overwhelmed and have a million questions, because there's going to come questions that are going to lead to a healing in your life. So what I want to say is, when I started to write this message, I felt this innate feeling that I was never to help people to understand that which is really not understandable. But yet when we look at it and listen with our heart intuitively, it expands our spirituality. It also expands our freedom to be who we are. So I want you to listen with your heart, because it will stir up questions, and keep those questions in your mind, because there is no there in studying this. And I'm going to tell you why I'm teaching it in a bit. It is a journey, and it is a journey of expansion, and it is a journey of evolution. And unlike religion, which likes to hunker you down into a dual mindset of just staying in one place and being sure of everything, in this you will be sure of nothing, but it'll broaden your spirituality in ways you could never conceive of. And we're going to focus on 2 topics today. So I want you to understand this. Catch this, okay? I want you to know 2 words: integration and amalgamation. And this is what integration is. It means to form, coordinate, or to blend into a unified whole. The reason I'm teaching this, and the reason that you will find what you're called to do or the purpose in your life, will come from the integration of every experience that you have in life. everything good, bad, and otherwise that you will be grateful for, and you will rise in consciousness to see what it has done in your life to expand you. So you don't ignore experiences or anything that brought you to this place. You integrate them into a whole to move forward in gratitude and love. That's very important. And the reason I'm speaking this out is because everything I've gone through, the creative aspect of my life, being in religion for a while, being a science major at university, everything has brought me to this point, and this is a new birth. It is not captured in an altar call in any level of a religion. A new birth is called an amalgamation, when everything you've been through produces a new individual, an individual that may not look anything like from where you came, and people may question. It has an effect in business when two companies come together and they form together an amalgamation, which is a totally new entity. So we are called to have this new birth, being born from above in an understanding of our spirituality, our place in time, and the integration of everything we've gone in life with an attitude inside of gratitude to expand our love energy. So I am doing this without doubt because this has been integrated in my life to produce what I'm doing today. So I want you to know that the integration of everything in your life may lead to a new topic, a new way of doing things, maybe doing things a little differently than everybody. And I want you to go into that new birth to move out in the essence of who you are. Now, why am I teaching this? The innate flow from within me, my amalgamation, my new birth, is creativity and creative expression. So to realize what it means to be in the world, in space-time, in these 4 dimensions, yet hooked to higher dimensions, by being in the world, but not of the world, taking my cues from higher dimensions so that I enact the reality of my life on this planet. I don't try to avoid it. I don't try to bypass it. I am grateful for it and everything it provides for me. So I have to know that even though I am not of this world, I am in this world, so the narrative that I follow must be a spiritual narrative of expanding consciousness, which I found through studying quantum and science and math, because I love it. How will you find your amalgamation? How will you find what you're called to flow from the essence of while you're on this planet? What is that? How will you find it? You don't find it by taking more conferences or reading more books. That's part of it. You take it from knowing the essence of who you are. So knowing that I'm awake and consistently flowing, and I refuse to be controlled or conditioned by religion, culture, or government. And I firmly believe that there is a beautiful flow of union when people move in their authenticity and their freedom of who they are called to be. You don't have to strive for unity. It just flows because love energy increases within you. So I want to cut the anchor that holds me to the earthly realm. I want to disregard those messages that say everything is woo-woo. You know, a lot of physicists don't even want to acknowledge that consciousness has anything to do about our reality. I'm reading a book right now called Biocentrism by Robert Lanza. It sounds like a detailed topic, but really all he's saying is that our biology, being in our incarnation, has everything to do with our consciousness and how we relate to time and space from living from another realm. So let's start with this quote. I'm going to go slow because just listen. All matter originates. Everything you see exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particles of an atom to vibration and then holds the most minute solar system of the atom in addition to the whole world and the galaxies and even your lives together. You are bound together. Even the very atoms and the very cells and the very energy of your body is pulled together by a divine force and a divine mind whose image was pushed into the earth through you in your incarnation. So here you are, the essence of the divine mind. So this physicist Max Planck, after all his study, said, we must assume behind this force, call this force what you will, it doesn't matter to me, God, source, the field, that behind this force, the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind, for the mind is the matrix of all matter. The divine mind holds all matter together and flows in energy within matter, from the smallest quanta, from the smallest photon of light, to the immense galaxies, to this earth, and through your life. You are held together, a thought in the mind of God, an image in the mind of God, set into space-time for such a time as this. And this time will end, but we will not call it death. We will call it transition into a transcendent place from where you come. For you are limitless and you are immortal. That means that you do not deny that you are in this realm put here by the divine mind who has you for such a time as this. So the inherent, when we're going to call the quantum field, the whole field, we're going to call it the all, we're going to call it the essence, and it emanates out of God, out of source. And in this field, it's built upon patterns. That's sacred geometry. Now, let me blow your mind a little bit. We like to talk about energy. Now, everybody's throwing out energy this, energy this. But let me say this. Energy isn't even the smallest, most minute form of what is in existence. It is information. It is patterns that is set forth from the mind of God to build this universe through sacred geometry. You are built on an intricate pattern. That is why you have a self-technology in you that is so beautifully expressed in your humanity, where the narrative outside of this beauty is trying to get you to do everything to disrupt it. Crappy food that we eat, medications that we take, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with them, but you have been created intricately through the image and the consciousness of God in a beautiful divine reality. And you will transmute from this reality at the right time while still retaining your immortality now. So in other words, the knowing of all that exists is God's mind. Everything you see, everything you comprehend in the 3D dimension of height, width, depth, and time is the essence of God's mind. But it is not only all of God's mind. People have experiences where they go into the essence, and they're experiencing the essence of the wholeness of the all of God and have no words to describe it. Because there is no words. It is not nothing. It is the all. It is the consciousness, the all, the beauty from which all flows and emanates. So, the divine mind, God, the field, the universe, the divine mind organizes a sequence of creation. It goes from void to chaos to coherent reality. Let there be light. So it was spoken, but before it is spoken, there is an image in the divine mind of what things will look like. There is a thought that comes through the image. You are an image in the mind of God. You have materialized in this place as an image of God. The Father within you has this divine connection within you to flow in this image. So it goes from void to chaos, the Big Bang, void. But what was before the void? There's a verse that says we were formed before the foundations of the world. We were formed before space-time. We were in consciousness, in that reality that is in the whole. So we emanate out of that, and we go from that into a coherent reality. What does that mean? It means the intricacy of design. Never underestimate the intricacy of the design. and the curiosity which with you have been birthed, and the creative expression. There is no one like you. No one. There is no one like you. Are individual. You are in the image, and the image had a thought that here is Deborah in this time. The image of God created Tender Ann in this time, just as they are, just as I am. We come from I am that I am into the manifestation of the all. So now, God shows us in God before the foundation of the world, before space-time. This is reality, folks. This is not conjecture or concept. Space-time was what developed after the Big Bang. I'm not going to go into that. It is the matter. It is what we see. It contains time, but we are in that place. But we are in the 4 dimensions, but we came with not just a physical awareness, and this is what you never learn in fundamental BS religion. You have the ability to connect with where you come from. You have that ability through your auras, through your chakras, through your spirituality, through your essence, through your intuition, through your clairvoyance, through your psychic abilities. You are not just set in the planet as a lump of matter, unable to know where you came from and why you are here. So religion has imprisoned and enslaved most people to a narrative that is based only on space-time. You know, I'll explain that in a minute. It's only on what you can see. It's not connecting with a higher self that is one in you and with you. It is a point of remembering, because as we get older, we have fragmented from the very essence of our knowledge. So we are remembering, putting together, I know where I came from. I know why I am here, and I'm going to stay true to the essence of my life. Nobody can tell you that but you. And it was ordained that way. Because why would you want, I sat too long in a seat of people trying to tell me who I was without being able to ask questions, without being able to creatively explore. That will never happen again. Okay, so God chose us in God. And placed us in space-time. We have length, we have breadth, we have height. We are in time. It's not an illusion. We are in space-time, moving on a timeline that we create. You should listen to something I said a couple weeks ago on a Facebook Live on if you want to change your timeline, how to do that. So what about the dimensions, though, that are greater and higher and more expansive than what we see in space-time? Einstein had a problem with this. Let me explain why. There was a scientific experiment in quantum called entanglement. Einstein believed everything moved only in accordance with the speed of light. He was wrong. Things will move faster than the speed of light outside of space-time. And he was unwilling to accept. So they did an experiment that it's called entanglement. And without going into great detail, I'll give you the definition. Entanglement is when two particles, such as a pair of photons and electrons, become entangled. They remain connected even when separated by vast distances. All is one. Entanglement is the very essence of quantum reality. It is the very essence that we are all one. There is no division. There is no one true religion. There is no one way. There is only one that emanates through you in the degree to which you come to earth. So there are dimensions higher than you that basically, when I was in the church, they denied it. It was a linear understanding of always an action. Now, let me stretch your mind a little bit. I'm not going to explain this. I'm just going to put it out there. There is no cause and effect in the quantum field. It's outside of cause and effect. There is only cause and effect in time. Let me explain that. If you're going to move in cause and effect, then you're going to produce, you want an action from every action that you take. That's what religion is built on. Walk this aisle, and your action will provide easy access into a realm of heaven, which really doesn't exist because the quantum field is everywhere, and I'm the field. So what this does is that it projects you into a duality of getting something, having to do something to produce an effect. Pray harder, you'll get this. Believe that Jesus is coming back, then you don't have to worry about what's happening in the world today or be responsible in love to be the change. You could just hope to get out of here. For salvation, all you got to do is walk an aisle and you're in and everybody else is out. Or in the political realm, there's all these different belief systems that are based upon cause and effect, and they are all wrong. They have a measure of truth, but they fail to see that you are in time for such a time as this. So the reality is we have the ability to access those realms. That's what I started to believe in the charismatic a little bit more than evangelical Christianity, but even the charismatic it's everything. I'm not going back there. Never again. So to connect with this intuitive realm, to be in the world and not of the world, is accessing outside of this dimension of what you can see. We'll talk about that later. So now, why do I refer to the divine mind? And why? I had this feeling that a lot of Christians, per se, would be offended that I said the divine mind, that somehow it was too scientific, it was too new age. So I actually started thinking about this. I started thinking about, first of all, there is a divine mind. But why would it upset religious people? And suddenly I saw this. This can easily offend people because they desire to imagine God in an image they create. They want this God to be understandable in linear time, able to produce effects. They want that cause and effect, to believe in a God that's automatically going to change their position, change their location, change everything without any effort on their part except to beg and plead in intercession for hours on end. That's bullshit, folks. So to the divine mind, the outflow of creating a God that only moves in linear time is control. You have to keep coming back and sitting in that place, whether it's religion, whether it's depending upon culture, whether it's depending upon government. You come into that place to produce an effect in your life for somebody to help you outside of yourself. The outflow of this belief system has been so destructive to the whole planet. The outflow of this separation, that we are entangled, that we are one all throughout the essence of the universe. We are one. There is no separation. There is no this over that. There is a massive inclusion in God when we start moving in love energy. So in the divine mind, if you see it as just like, if you're going to put God in linear time, then God is going to operate by linear space-time dimensions, which means there's going to be war. There's going to be a belief in a rapture to get you out of here. There's going to be a physical return to help you because, God forbid, you would have to help yourself or believe that you are the great I am in the I am. And you interpret God through the control of linear mind. But God is greater than that. God is not only greater, you can't even explain it because you can't quantify it. You can't quantify God. You can't quantify God in any way. As soon as you figure out what it is you believe, it will change in your life. And that is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a journey that challenges you through the questions, and the questions provide clarity and movement. Most people don't want to hear this. That's the way it is. So the mind, the divine mind, it's not the brain. It's not the brain that originates thoughts in the field that we resonate with. We resonate with this field. I am the field. I am one in the field. I resonate with this divine mind, not only through my linear understanding. I resonate with the power of my mind and the power of my heart in coherence, in unity, in one, in energy. That is how I access the field. Now, for those who have never been acquainted with heart math, go do some research on heart math. I'm not a heart math instructor, and it's just too much that they've done to show you how powerful the heart is. The heart is more powerful than the brain. If you only rely on the brain, you're going to move in a linear fashion, and then you're going to call everything not applicable or any some such thing, but the heart knows and the gut knows. It's called the hara. It knows, and it knows how to interpret what you're seeing above what you're seeing. So let's talk about this divine mind. The divine mind were created in God's image. In the divine mind, in the essence of the all, you started as a thought. You were there as a thought. Let's say God wants to interject you into this time. And this image is in God's heart, let's say, to use language that we are accustomed to. And this image is then formed and put on the planet. And flowing from this image is the form in which you come on the planet, totally innocent. Not in Adam, not in sin, not in anything other than perfection. It is perfection into which you come into this planet with an intuitive understanding of where you came from. That is why children are so creative. But we forget. We are programmed, we are conditioned, we are blasted with all, even our education system totally obliterates creativity of any kind. So sooner or later, we are so fragmented that we have to be brought back to the place where all those fragments come together with the innocence of a child, and we need to access the field, which is the kingdom. And did not Jesus, we'll get to him in a minute, say that you have to be childlike to access the kingdom? You will not access it in your mind. You will access it in your heart through your intuition, and your mind will give you the idea. The thoughts are the images. You want to create something. You want to create a business. You want to create a life. You want to create a child. You want to create a marriage. You want to create a family. That starts as an image in your mind. And if you're broken, you have all these broken, scattered images. So perhaps what God is doing is he's giving the essence of the image back to us, folks. We have been so disjointed and so fragmented by all the crap in the world today that we are now flowing in the beautiful image of who we are. And we picture that. And the outflow of that picture goes through our heart to connect us with the script that's in the field, which is already in our heart. There is a script in our, and it's not scripted in that you walk it out day by day. It is scripted in your creative expression. There is no mimicking. There is no copying. There is only you in your authenticity and in your freedom. So let me say this too. God, let's say divine consciousness, divine essence, divine all. You can't reduce God to an understandable level. If you do that, he becomes a God. And no, I don't even want to say he. God becomes created in your image. Now, let me say something that you may not understand, but let me just throw it out there. Consciousness cannot be reduced to matter or energy. Consciousness is divine essence. It's the all. Matter and energy flow out of consciousness. They are a representation of consciousness. So when you come into a form with a unique energy signature, you are coming from the all to emanate the all through the form of who you are. I know this is like, I'm being touched when I hope this is ministering to you. So the pure essence of the all is consciousness in perfection. And what's in the field is called cosmic consciousness. And in that field is potentiality, which I'm not even going to begin to explain now. I will in future days. There is potential in this field that is just for you. When your heart connects with the field, there is potential in that field. It's called the waveform collapse. What does that mean? That means what is energy waiting for you to appropriate in the field is going to manifest out of a waveform of energy into matter and into form through your life. Through the appropriation of joy and peace, the dreams you have, the visions you have, the purpose that you want to fulfill, the life you want to lead. It's not a script. It's an invitation to collapse all that energy, but you don't access it through just religion or government or culture. You access it through spirituality, quantum being the one way, to know that there even is a field, and I am the field. So the discovery of consciousness, it's not reducible to matter and energy. It is the pure essence of being. And this is what physicists they just won't accept. They think that somehow it's not even a matter of whether they believe in God. They just want something understandable to prove that they know this, when in essence they don't. So we are so far removed from what they even believe, because we believe there is a consciousness that is forming our life as we live in space-time. Now, let me talk about entanglement. Let me repeat. Entanglement is when a pair of photons become entangled. They remain connected even when separated by vast distances, all is one. Mothers, have you ever experienced anything that you knew your child was in danger, your child needed you, anticipating the cry before the cry, yet being entangled with the baby to know what the baby. We have been deceived into not trusting our intuition. We are divinely entangled, and we are entangled up, I think twins would be the perfect essence of entanglement. They think spontaneously for each other. There is no time lapse. So let's figure out that perhaps outside of this realm of space-time, we are connecting in the field outside of this 3D dimension where there is no time. So we're able to do all kinds of wonderful things. Remote view, clairaudience, psychic power, intuition. Perhaps, let me give you an example for those of you still in Christianity. Remember when Peter met Cornelius? Remember Peter got the vision? Well, that was not isolated in Peter. At the same time, Peter and Cornelius were entangled, getting the same energy flowing. Where did it flow from? It didn't flow in time. They didn't know each other. It flew from outside of time. It flowed from outside of time so that the connection was made, that Peter got the trance. Where did the trance came from? The trance came from outside of time. The trances don't come from in time. They come from an intuitive sense of a higher self in a higher dimension. Peter gets a trance which says to him, go to this guy. This guy gets a visitation and says, somebody's coming to you. It is a divine entanglement. It is a divine oneness, irrespective of time. Do you ever move in that? I have. Have you ever thrown caution to the wind and traveled to the other side of the world simply because you felt the call and you felt the inner being of Father to say, go? I have. And it has produced incredible results because the divine connections were already made in the field, and I was entangled. So every nation I've ever gone to, I am already grounded in the nation. Why is that? Because I am already entangled with the people in that nation through my intuitive sense. Are you understanding this? Have you truly moved in that level of intuition, or are you fearful? Are you still living anchored to this realm because somehow religion has put that in you? Are you willing to take a risk? And I am not advocating stupidity. I am not advocating rebellion or pride. I am saying, in a position of meditation and humility, if you were to hear this ever-present intuitive nature of you saying, do this, do you need outward signs to do it? Do you need something in a linear understanding to move, or are you know that you are entangled with whatever is being placed in your spirit? I hope this is making sense. So let's talk about Jesus and entanglement. And many of you are never going to agree with me about this, and it's okay. I can handle it. You're not going to change my mind, but I can handle it. Jesus came into this earth realm according to, and he operated in, it didn't, how do I say this? Entanglement is pervasive. It is just the all. We're entangled. So he came into this earth realm. I don't believe he came to start a religion, and I do not believe he came to be inclusive, that somehow he was the only way you can get to God. What stupidity and arrogance. He was much more of a quintessential mystic, wisdom, light-filled teacher than to believe his way was the only way. That's ridiculous. So he came in already the reality of entanglement. And for thousands of years before his appearance, there was already spirituality flowing. It just did not arrive on the scene when Jesus came on the scene. So we have been seeing him All wrong. So people deconstruct from Christianity and they get so angry that they throw everything away. They don't want to read the Bible. They don't want to talk about Jesus. That's kind of as silly as someone who doesn't believe about him in the first place. If you readapt your wisdom to see that he was this incredible spiritual teacher that showed us how to live in our incarnation. Do you know, and I'm going to hopefully paraphrase this, Adyashanti is a Buddhist, and he said, the perfect example of the beauty of our incarnation is Jesus. See, Jesus can minister outside of Christian fields more than Christians acknowledge who he is. Christians are hunkered down to this linear mindset which only acknowledges him as coming back, the way, the truth, and the life, the only way to the Father, which is all BS. But if a Buddhist can say, look at this man, look at how he does everything that we are also called to do. Did he not say, greater things will you do because I go to the Father? Did he not say, greater things will you do? Because when we have locked him down to a set scenario, we have obliterated and destroyed the message he was called to bring. So there is no separation. He never came to show one way. What he came with is in the flow of entanglement, perfectly in a kairos time to add to what came before and to add to what will come after. In that moment of kairos time, he came to show us how to expand our consciousness into the divinity within our human form. It's not miracles, folks. If you're calling it a miracle, it's because you do not understand the basics of science. Miracles are only a term for what you do not understand. Can you move in a realm that is greater than the 3D realm? Yes. Am I doing that? No, I haven't walked on water recently. Should I be able to? Yeah. Should I be able to translocate? Should I be able to walk through walls? Yeah. Yeah, I probably should be able to do that. I'm not there yet, but that's all defying the essence of the 3D realm. If I'm in the world but not of the world, should I not be able to do the same things he did for the purpose of gratitude and love and service to humanity? Because he served humanity. When was the last time that you were in a store and you felt this picture or vision come into you and you knew that you had to say something to the person? Let's get rid of that term prophetic and let's just call it intuition. Have you done that? Why not? Why haven't you moved out in this realm? Have you moved out of a realm of understanding led by your intuition? And we'll talk about synchronicities in the future. Have you not? Why not? Why haven't you? What is still anchoring you to this reality that is keeping you from flowing in the power of your own intuition? So that is probably why Jesus said, I only see what I only do what I see the Father doing, because he understood the power of the divine mind from when he came. He emanated out of the divine mind, just like you, just like me. There was no difference in Jesus. He was the quintessential form or pattern to teach us how to live in the essence of our immortality. So now, in this divine mind, the divine mind is the pure essence of all, in consciousness, in perfection. Now, let me say one other quantum reality before we call it quits. And this is kind of an introduction. I'll get way more specific in the days ahead, and it will help you to be brilliant. I want to talk about another quantum principle that is very important, and I'm going to just read it from my notes because I want to get it right. Nature reacts differently on the submicroscopic level than on the macroscopic level. What's that saying? There is a difference from what you see as to how the reality of the essence of energy is actually flowing. And that is where physicists are trying to find the blend of things. Because if I jump off a building, I'm not going to negate the law of gravity. Maybe not yet, but I'm going to have to obey the law of gravity that is flowing in the planet But the law of the quantum realm says everything is flowing, and there's entanglement, and there's energy is moving, and there's power in that. There's entanglement, there's observation creating reality. So it's like two realities are exploding and hitting each other. And I believe that that is what Jesus meant when he said we're in the world, not of the world. We're not looking at separate realities. And quantum reveals to us that how photons or electrons obey reality is different than how matter obeys reality. And I'm going to talk about that in the day ahead, because the chair is there, okay? I'm going to sit on it, and I'm going to know that matter isn't just going to dissipate out of form. But yet, on the essence of the quantum field, it doesn't obey the same rules. So let me spiritualize this. What does that mean? That means that, yes, you acknowledge the reality of the 3D realm, okay? It's there. You're not going to drive off a cliff and not fall to the ground. There are realities in the 3D realm that we came into in our human form, but there are also beautiful realities playing out in the quantum field that we are not attuned to, so we're living our life in the field of matter. Now, it is wisdom to obey the laws that are put into place of the universe, okay? But it is also wisdom, a greater wisdom, to know that through our intuition, we can override some of those laws. So I'll talk about that in the days ahead. So what does this mean? I am the emanation from the field, and I am the field. Therefore, I live and move and have my being in a reality that is different from the world in which I live. I'm already in a reality that's different from the world in which I live. And I am one in the field, and I am one. Can you wrap your mind around that? Not really, but when you have that essence of knowing something, that is when your intuition kicks into gear, when you know, wait a minute, I'm actually from this place. I'm from another place, and I'm in this place to demonstrate love. So how do I take my cues from a different realm other than the one I see? Because that other realm is operating on different principles than the realm in which I see. And we'll talk about that in the days ahead. I am outside linear time. I am outside space. I am in consciousness, which originates from the divine mind, God. I explore my connection to the field, being the field, through spirituality. I learn to discern things that are outside of a linear understanding of time. And you will be looked upon as crazy. You will be looked upon as woo-woo. You will be looked upon in many different ways, but go ahead and do it. So we access this other realm, and I'm going to be a bit repetitive. We're in the world. We're accessing it through the aura, through the chakra, through energy, intuition, clairvoyance, and more. I can't stress enough that when you understand energy and you understand who you're resonating with, and you begin to perceive things in time from what is coming from outside of time, and you discern the energy of people, you will know whether they're telling the truth or not. There's no discernment in our world right now. There's no critical thinking. Everybody's just thinking whatever they want to think, flowing in whatever way they want. When you have the great wisdom teacher who came to earth and show us, well, I can go to this well and talk to this woman and change her life. I can do this. I can walk through crowds because Jesus was taking in his instructions from a field that operated differently from the field that he was moving in, yet he acknowledged the field that he lived in. He lived in time, and he lived to awaken and open people's heart and open people's mind. So I want to say that again. I explore my connection to the field through spirituality. So, I have a friend to see a Reiki healer. Reiki healers are trained and good ones are trained in the ability to know where your energy is off. I've experienced blockages in my chakras that produced a physical symptom. Now, if it was just the physical symptom, I would go to the doctor and say, yeah, give me 52 million pills that are going to cause other problems, which are then going to have me take other pills, which are going to have me take other pills. That's BS, folks. Yes, medicine has its purpose and its cause, but not to control or manipulate. So what happens is that I've indicated that there were blockages, and the emanation of that blockage produced sadness, discouragement, and we'll go into that at a later day. I wanted to teach on auras, and I tried to do it before, but it wasn't time. Now it's time. I can walk into a room, and I can automatically discern. When I open up to that field, then I can discern what people are feeling. That's not woo-woo, that's life. I can discern how to help them. I told you about the story that the woman, I was in a meeting and she was talking and I saw a loop out of her mouth. It was like she was so desperately trying to find the answer, but all it did was consistently loop. What am I saying? You're in the world and not of the world. You're walking in it, but you should have an awareness through various practices. Tarot readers. I follow this one guy on YouTube. He's an incredible tarot reader. Do I follow everything he says? No. My discernment tells me when to listen to him and how to absorb what he's saying, and so far, it's been right. What about my intuition to tell me don't go that way? Don't get on that plane. What about my discernment when there are so many lies abounding in the atmosphere right now, and you know that you know in your gut that that's not true? That's not true. You know it. This is discernment and how to flow from the field into this earth realm and how to rise in consciousness. That's why they say, and I hope I get this right, Teresa Ballard said, it only takes 3% of beings living on the planet to move us up into a higher realm of consciousness and greater degrees of light to get rid of all this bullshit right now. But unfortunately, we're going to go through the bullshit. We're going to go through it and we're going to move. So here's a few more points. All in the real world existed as a state in the cosmic field of potentiality. Everything is already there in the realm of cosmic field. Maybe that's why God said to Jeremiah, before I formed you, I knew you. The image of the creation of the individual of Jeremiah comes with it all the essence of being known. Do you know that you are known? Or are you looking for other people to define you? Are you looking for religion to define you or culture to define you? Are you looking for everything outside of yourself to define you other than you? So in this field, there is potential. That's exciting. And this cosmic potential, let's say the field has all these patterns and forms that can flow through your life. This potential is not matter or energy. Listen, I'm going to go into this in more detail. This blew me away, and I don't even know why. Just hear this. In the field, it's not matter or energy. It's forms, it's thought patterns actualized from sacred geometry. Do you know that embedded in the divine mind of God, there are thoughts that form images that produce form? If you look at the images today, that even in Kabbalah, there's the tree of life. That's sacred geometry. That you can study forever. That there are forms and thought patterns. Why do you think you started as like just one cell? A circular cell. There's power in the circle. There's power in different sacred geometry patterns that take form and develop matter. That is the essence of the universe. So these states of potential in the field have the ability to actualize and manifest through your heart-brain coherence. Yet these energy emanations of what you get in the field are from the one who is pure being. It's all there. Why would you want to be anybody else? Why would you want to look like anybody else? Why would you be concerned about anybody else? When you truly anchor into yourself, love flows. So the basis of the world is what we call non-empirical. It's made from that which is not seen, but manifests in actuality from potential, which I'll talk about next week. The universe is as a nature of a thought or a sensation in the universal mind. And the inner images of the universe guide us into visibility as matter from the mind of God. That's called connection to the blueprint of potentiality in the field. Do you actually think that you came into this time for no reason? Do you believe that you're in time, that it's just random? That there was no thought to it? That somehow that you're this mass, nebulous void that somehow ended up here that you deny the essence of your intricacy and your creativity, that you were a thought in the mind of God that formulated an image that is you in time for such a time as this, you will never get any further until you acknowledge that. Because that is the essence of your divine creativity. And that heals rejection. It heals insecurity. It heals pride, trying to prove yourself. It heals pompousness and arrogance and narcissism. That there's no competition in the field. Everything's entangled. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? So all things need an underlying image to appear in the visible world. And that's where I'm going to stop, because I'm going to continue on this next week. All things need an underlying image to appear in the visible world. There, my friends, is your purpose, not by accident. The image in the mind of the divine mind of God formulated you into this planet from an image. And this is how you're flowing in this way, in the essence of who you are. And this will pass at some point or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but that doesn't mean you stop existing. You are immortal right now in your image. Now, some people believe in reincarnation. Some people believe in ascension. It really doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is, why am I here, God? And that's all I've been. At the beginning of this year, I usually have a word for the year. And this year I got the word understand. And it was the first 2 months. All I kept saying, this was almost funny. I don't understand this. I don't understand this. When the essence of this year was to bring me into an understanding of certain things about my life and my essence in time. So you do not have to understand anything I say. If you love science, you'll pursue it. I can't really make it any clearer than I've made it unless I teach you a science and math course, which I'm not going to do. So I'm teaching you essence. I'm revealing to you essence. And from that essence, you will flow in the dimension of how you see it, know it, feel it, and sense it. That's why there's so much power in this, because it gives you the freedom to be you. So, God, this was like, I would like to be able to just have points in front of me. It would be so nice just to have points in front of me and to be able to know that I nailed it after I say this. And yes, and then and there's going to produce change and you're going to know what I said, but I don't. Let me end with this. I get off this and I go, oh my God, do people even understand what I'm saying? But I know that the essence of who I am is to just spark questions in you. That's my purpose. The essence of who I am is for you to think in other ways that you've never thought before, to find yourself. And it doesn't come with a lot of people watching or listening. I'm okay with that. So I want to just say to you today, think on these things I've said to you in your heart, not your mind. Take one thing I've said to you, and let's see what you do with it. So I'm going to go back to studying, reading the 2 books that I don't know if anybody's ready for, because I'm not even understanding. I got to read them 2 times, but I will have understanding. I love you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to be me, and you have a good day.